Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So I'm very thankful to all of you who are here, who made it to our meeting this evening of the York NAACP. Please also be reminded that our meetings are every fourth Tuesday at 6:30 at Crispus Attucks here at 605 South Duke Street. So hopefully we'll also see you in May. We, as you see, are videotaping. The plan for today, because these candidates were so gracious to respond to our last-minute requests, the plan for today is that they each would give about a 5-minute presentation. And I did ask them to consider the issues that are important to us as an organization. So if you have a pressing question, because we weren't really going to go back question and answer, but if you do have a pressing question at the end of, say for instance, the 10th Congressional District candidates, then raise your hand so we'll know. But otherwise, what we were thinking is this was a meet and greet. There's some snacks over to my right. Please help yourself too. But after they give their stump speeches, that you can have some personal interaction with these candidates. Because sometimes what they say at the podium doesn't always show who they are as a person. And one of the things that I absolutely know is you're putting people in those positions and you need to know who they are. And know whether or not they have your interests at heart, whether or not they will be serving you or some other interests. So we want you to vote. And we want you to be informed voters, because we understand that the more you know, the more willing you are to go out to vote and speak to others about voting.
Good evening. I gotta make sure that I don't wander on your camera, sorry. My name is Steve Snell and I'm running for the 94th District in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. I'm running against Stan Saylor, 13-term Stan Saylor, and we're going to prevent his 14th if we can. Let me give you a little bit of a background on me. I taught high school for 8 years, and my primary reason for teaching high school was because I believe in civics. I believe in the importance of being a participant in our community. And one of the things that I wanted to emphasize with the students, and I think it's just as important today in the population at large, and that is to make sure that people don't feel impotent, that they have power, they just have to roll up their sleeves and find a way to use it. So after 8 years of doing that, I took a position with the Realtors Association of York County. During that period of time, I managed a merger with the Hanover-Adams County Association. I managed a staff of 10, budget of 7 figures, built a new office building, which I made sure was built in the city, and we were not a nonprofit, so we stayed in the city where we paid property taxes. But I think one of the most important aspects of my years with the Realtors Association, which I did for 30 years, is the fact that although I was chief of staff, I had a new elected officer president of the association every year. So technically during that period of time I dealt with 31 individuals who I had to partner with, who I had to find ways to advance the interests of the association with. They had different skills, different weaknesses, different strengths, different political persuasions, but every time we made it work. And I think that's a skill that is needed in Harrisburg. I think for far too long we've had people in one corner or the other corner who scream rather than figure out how to find the middle ground where they can come together and make advancements. I don't think that we're going to be able to do Hail Marys all the time. I think we need to be able to figure out how to move the ball down the field incrementally, because any movement forward is better than where we've been, which is stagnant or in some cases moving backwards. One of the things that was kind of a carryover between my position with the Realtors Association and now is property taxes. And you're going to say, huh? Property taxes? Isn't that what the right wing talks about all the time? They don't want to pay property taxes. Let me make some connections for you. And the connection is this. I'm running against Stan Saylor, who is Appropriations Committee Chair. If the state did what it was supposed to do and funded public education at an appropriate level and a fair level, it's been decreasing. It's supposed to be 50. It declined into the 40s. Now it's into the 30s. That's the share of public education that the state is paying. So what's the result? The result is that in district after district, the difference is made up by property taxes. And I think we need to figure out how to move the state into the position where it lives up to its obligation to fund schools properly. And that particularly impacts urban schools. I have a brother that teaches in the main line area outside of Philadelphia. And he can't afford to live there, but he teaches there. And they spend 4 times as much per student as in some of the poorer districts. And those kids would succeed anyway because of the socioeconomic background they come from. We need to fix that. Now, just one last comment, and that is, and I'll add pre-K as being one of the things that I think needs to be funded, and the public schools need to take that over statewide. We know so much more about when learning begins, and it begins a lot earlier than kindergarten. And if they start off behind, they stay behind. But let me just make one additional comment. One of my campaign staff sent out an email asking a list, and it was apparently a little bit of an old list, about people who might be willing to put a yard sign in their yard. And they were confused when they got one back. And it said, well, I don't live in Steve's district anymore. And in fact, I don't live in the country anymore. But if you want to send me one in Botswana, I'll be glad to put it out. Well, some of you may know that that was Baba Whistler, who was president of the NAACP. And I'm a card-carrying member of the NAACP and have been for probably 20 years. Not as active as I should be, but back at that point, Baba asked me if I would chair a committee, and I did. I thought, why me? She asked. And as a result, one of the things that I learned, and by the way, Ken Werthwein was on the executive committee at the same time, and Kim was on one side, and Margie Orr was on the other side. So it was a good team. But what I learned from that is, she didn't wait for me to raise my hand. She asked me. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing in this campaign is knocking on doors and asking people to step forward, to be good citizens, and to vote for change. My name is Steve Snell, and I look forward to your support.